From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Wednesday, Troy students elected a new slate of officers to run Troy's Student Government Association next school year. Let's take a look at those results. Gus McKenzie will be Troy's new president of the SGA. Vice president for campus activities is Morgan Long. Alex Reynolds was elected vice president for legislative affairs. Abby Hamilton will serve as director of administration, and Morgan, too, will be SGA's director of representation. The new president-elect is already working with the current president on the transition.
Very excited. Just trying to get my feet wet at this point. Trying to really fully understand how everything works. Sat down with Ashley for lunch today, and we thought it was going to be 30 minutes, and we talked for an hour and a half. So it's a lot more than I expected.
The new officers will be sworn into office on April 24th. A piece of military and African American history is located at Troy's Municipal Airport. A hangar once used by the Tuskegee Airmen now rests in Pike County. And now that piece of history has been officially recognized by the state of Alabama. Lauren Harkson has the details.
In 1941, history was made in the sky. Known as the Tuskegee Airmen, African American men paved the way for anyone with the dream of flight. On Wednesday afternoon, a historical marker was dedicated to them right here in Troy.
What a great day this is. We're dedicating an historical marker here at the Troy Airport to this hangar, which was originally a Tuskegee Airmen hangar that was at Tuskegee Army Airfield. After that famous training mission, the first African American pilots, this hangar was no longer needed. It was disassembled and reassembled here. And we're incredibly proud to have discovered this history and to be able to mark it today with this ceremony and this marker.
The marker doesn't only signify the planes the Tuskegee Airmen flew, but also the people and pioneers that they were.
We reflected credit upon the pioneers, as I refer to them, what they did, what they stood for, and how they rose from the bottom to the top. And everybody said, you can't do this. And they said, yes, we can.
The Tuskegee Airmen were the first African American pilots in history, and by using their passion of flying planes just like this one, they were able to make that history all across America, and Troy is signifying that with the hangar dedication. This marker has landed Troy a position on the Alabama Register of Landmarks and Heritage, which can ensure a peak of interest for visitors of Troy and Troy University.
This adds another reason why a student would be proud to enroll at Troy. It's a very significant place that you can come and celebrate. I just want our students to understand history. It was said many years ago, if you fail to remember the trials and tribulations of the past, you'll probably be forced to repeat them.
The marker unveiling ceremony took place on February 28th to recognize the closing celebration of Black History Month. Lauren Harkson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University Student Government Association is working towards making campus a little brighter at night. A resolution proposed Tuesday night would suggest adding more lights to campus. Brady Talbert has the story.
Dark roadways can make for hazardous areas on campus, and in light of a Sodexo worker being hit by a moving vehicle earlier this month, action is being taken at the legislative level to prevent accidents like these. Earlier this semester, even before the February 13th incident, Freshman Forum Student Welfare Committee was drafting a lighting on campus bill after noticing dark spots near roadways.
It was something that we saw when we went on our night walks and our night drives that was a problem, and we were actually in the final stages of writing the bill when the incident happened, and so that just further reinforced the need for better lighting on campus.
On Tuesday, the bill was presented in front of the Student Government Association with hopes of having it passed next week. Now this is Resolution 2018-2, the bill that was presented Tuesday night. Now the goal of this bill is to bring more lighting to Troy University's campus, specifically on McKinley Drive off of University Avenue, outside of Newman Center 100, and lastly on Luther Drive, a goal that will make Troy University safer for its students.
When students are walking home from the library or even driving, it's hard to see the surrounding areas. Better lighting creates a safer environment ultimately, and anything that we can do to better our university is something we definitely want to be a part of.
While the idea of more lighting around campus has already been on the university's radar, SGA President Ashley Morris believes this bill could be the push to spark change.
They pinpointed something that is definitely needed. It's something that we've been working on, and I think that their involvement in it will help give us a little push to make sure that administration gets on that and continues to keep the ball rolling on those improvements, which they're already working on.
That bill is being voted on Tuesday night. Brady Talbert, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy University welcomed renowned painter and scientist Works of Arts to the International Art Center earlier this week. Paige Weeks had the opportunity to talk with the artist about his artwork.
Tuesday afternoon, students met in Troy University's International Art Center in order to hear from a biologist turned artist. Dr. Arthur Bacon spoke to students about his art gallery that is currently on display in the Art Center.
Dr. Bacon has such a colorful history with his career in science and art, and just his experience with the civil rights movement.
Although Bacon has worked as a biologist for most of his life, he says he has been an artist all of his life.
The last 10 years as a biologist and college administrators was spent waiting for the day I could paint full time.
As you look at Bacon's work, you may notice a theme. Many of his paintings are portraits, and he says there's a reason for that.
Well, whatever condition or situation that the individual is in, I seem to empathize with that.
Many of Bacon's pieces reflect African American culture as well as moments from civil rights history. For many, Bacon's art was a refreshing view of the African American image.
When you see an African American woman in media, it's always the light skin, you know, racially ambiguous, like super duper pretty, and now you have like all these ranges of skin tones and bigger noses and curly hair, and it's beautiful. I love it.
And when asked about which painting is his favorite?
My favorite painting is the one I just finished.
And why is that?
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how some younger artists took over the campus. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Young artists from across Alabama were making their marks on Troy University using sidewalks, pottery wheels, and more as part of the Department of Art and Design's Trojan Art Day. Anna Kate Patterson has the details.
Someday you may see these signatures on art pieces going for thousands of dollars. Many talented high school and middle school students from across Alabama were on the Troy University campus today for the Department of Art and Design's 5th annual Trojan Art Day.
And it gives a chance for children and kids, middle school, high school, to come and practice creative processes, do some interesting different kinds of art techniques so they can explore if they'd want to maybe come here to do art or just venture out into art, period.
But Newton says that there is always room for students not looking to someday major in art and design.
We're drawing on the sidewalk, we're screen printing things, we're painting everything. Even if you just come to have fun, that's all you have to do.
Michaela Harvey is a returning Trojan Art Day student. She says she comes back because it's a fun day to get out of school and do what she loves. And
it's fun seeing different people's talents and how they see different things and how they view, like put a sidewalk talk for the parodies. They see different ways they included it, and it's really fun to see.
According to Newton, volunteering with Trojan Art Day gives her a resume builder, it gives her experience working with younger artists, and it gives her hope for for the future of the art industry.
I am pretty amazed at how young these people are and how talented they are. And it's super exciting to see that just people this age are going to be in the world, and I'm probably going to see their art somewhere someday.
And while at Trojan Art Day, many of the high school students had the opportunity to take part in competitions. An award ceremony will be held at the end of the day. Anna Kate Patterson, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy University is known as Alabama's international university, and on Wednesday, Trojan Outreach wanted to help students learn more about Troy's international side. Taylor Pollock has the story.
With around 1,000 international students representing over 72 countries at Troy University, there's an abundance of diversity and uniqueness. On Wednesday, Trojan Outreach hosted Burst Your Bubble to show off what makes Troy, and more importantly, its students, unique.
So our goals today is pretty much to show everyone how much cultural diversity there is on campus, but not only that, it's to show that it's more than where you're from. It's more about who you are, and we're more alike than we are different.
The event offered a mirror for students to search for what makes them unique, as well as a map to showcase their hometowns. And many students agree that being Alabama's international university is part of what makes Troy special.
Diversity is important because it shows we're all different, but yet we're all the same. We're all here at Troy. We are what makes Troy. And even though you may be from all these different places, we are what makes Troy.
Taylor Pollock, Troy Trojan Vision News.
The Troy for Troops Center opened its doors to military-affiliated students Wednesday afternoon for a social event as a way to introduce what the facility has to offer. Anna Kate Patterson has the story.
Troy student U.S. military active servicemen, veterans, and dependents have been welcomed back to campus after Troy for Troops Welcome Back meet and greet Wednesday night.
My main goal is to let the veterans and the dependents know, and the active duty, National Guard, reservists, or even the RTC who are actively serving, know that we are here to help them and assist them.
The Student Veterans Association hosted the meet and greet with hopes that the attendants will spread the word of what all Troy for Troops has to offer.
We actually have a clothing closet to help them get dressed for success when they transition from college life to the civilian life for a job. We have a food pantry, so if they're struggling and they need assistance, they can come here and draw from the food pantry. And then we also do activities to get together. We also bring in a counselor. She comes in if you're qualified, and that's cost of nothing to them for free.
Reed is an Army veteran and medically retired after 15 years of service. She says the Troy for Troops Center aided in her transition from military into college life.
And I did have a hard transitioning from that life, and Troy for Troops Center helped me do it and do it with ease. And so that's why I enjoy coming here, and that's why I enjoy doing these events, so other people know that, so when they come here we can also do what the Troy for Troops did for me.
Troy for Troops is currently looking for volunteers to work its fun run on April 28th. Anna Kate Patterson, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how some education majors are getting ready for their careers. So don't touch that dial.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Troy University education majors took their first steps towards employment after graduation Wednesday morning through an education career fair held in Hawkins Hall. Janae Jordan has the details.
Before Troy was known as Troy University, it was known as Troy Normal School, an institution known for training teachers for Alabama schools. And although the name might have changed, the same training for teachers still remains the same. So on Wednesday morning, Troy University held an education fair to give students majoring in education a chance to get acquainted with school systems from around Alabama.
So the career fair is there's about 40 schools here that have come all over Alabama, some in Florida, some in Georgia. They are here just to talk to us to get to know them and them get to know us. Some of them offer interviews.
The education fair is a way for students majoring in education to get an idea of which school system they might be interested in.
It lets us get our name out there, and every school that we go and talk to, they tell us where they're located, some of the things that they offer, like if they're 1-1 with technology, or if their student-to-teacher ratio is small or high, which will help you decide where you want to go teach.
The students are able to leave resumes and gather contact information from each school system. Joe Blivens, a former Trojan who graduated from the education department, talked about how Troy prepares its students to be successful after graduating.
The thing I see is that the students coming out of here have a very good grasp of methodology, different strategies in the classroom, how to use data to really individualize lessons, and I think just a good overall positive environment that they come out of here that they bring into our classrooms.
With over 40 school systems, at least one school system piqued each student's interest. Janae Jordan, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
When it comes to college students and posters, one might think about decorating a dorm room. However, Wednesday afternoon, Troy students were using posters to educate their fellow Trojans. Carissa Justice has the story.
On Tuesday, Troy University gave its students the opportunity to showcase some independent research projects at the Troy University poster session.
Basically, we have students from all across the university have come and put together posters of their research that they've been working on of various kinds. So any department, any level, graduate, undergraduate.
Professor Ben Robertson discussed how students can benefit from participating in this event.
One of the biggest things is that students can actually, it's another line on the CV or resume, which is a really good thing to have. Even more importantly, maybe, is the fact that it gives you experience with, presenting your work to the public and, getting experience responding to questions and that kind of thing.
One student presenter talked about the logistics of his research project.
My work actually about gaze detection is a new technique, and my work focus about the person who is work in laptop or computer science, and I can limited the gaze, where is he looking, and actually is that is very good for future work.
But even if students did not participate in this event, Robertson says there is benefit to just viewing the research conducted by other students.
Benefits for just spectators is just to see that, the kind of quality work that the other students can produce, and it can kind of help to encourage them to do, work that's just as good.
Carissa Justice, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
During football season, Troy University will crown one lucky young lady homecoming queen. However, basketball season gives the boys a chance. However, the way the winning fellow becomes hoopcoming king is a little different. Janae Jordan shows us how.
This basketball team swept past Louisiana Lafayette on Thursday night. The Trojans were participating in hoopcoming, an event hosted by Freshman Forum.
So hoopcoming, we do it every year. Freshman Forum puts it on, and it's kind of to raise attendance for basketball games. But it's also a way for organizations to nominate someone for Hoopcoming King so they can raise money for their philanthropy.
The Trojans participated in a relay during halftime to see who would be crowned Hoopcoming King.
For the relay games, we had a mixture of a ping pong ball and a spoon in your mouth. We shoved 7 marshmallows in their mouth and said, "Go Trojans." We put a balloon between their knees, and they had a partner that helped pop the balloon. And then to end the game, they had to do a layup and make the layup.
The hoopcoming activities took place during the women's basketball game, but although it's called hoopcoming, it has little to do with basketball.
Organizations, even if they're not Greek, can nominate someone, and that person can represent a philanthropy of their choice. And then we have TC jars for like 2 weeks in TC that they can put money in. And whoever raises the most money gets all of the money from the jars.
During halftime of the men's basketball game, Alpha Gamma Delta's nominee Aaron Wilhite took home the title of Hoopcoming King. Janae Jordan, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
In the past few years, the Troy University freshman enrollment record has constantly been broken, which means dormitories are becoming full. On Tuesday, Troy held an off-campus housing fair for students who may not be able to find housing on campus. Brianna Jones gives us a look.
As Troy University's campus continues to grow, the dorm rooms get crowded. So to help fix that problem, Troy University held an off-campus housing fair to showcase other options for students.
We're excited to again be hosting an off-campus housing fair for the students here at Troy University to give them some contact with some local apartment agencies and so forth in one convenient location so they don't have to drive all over Troy trying to find someone to talk to. It gives them an opportunity to compare prices and options that they have, and of course some of our vendors have some nice giveaways too, and they're offering some special leasing options. So good time to think about what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be living for next academic year.
One vendor at the fair discussed opportunities for living at the closest apartment near campus.
Right now, as of today, we're going to waive the application fees for everyone who stops by on today. Right now, we are renting out at University Corners. Our 4 bedrooms are $325, and our 2 bedrooms are $400. They do rent by the bedroom, and they are first come, first serve.
Apartment complexes were giving away t-shirts and goodie bags, and even one apartment complex did a drawing for a free Yeti cooler. For students who are somewhat nervous about moving off campus, both Burks and Jenkins gave some advice.
First of all, you need to know what you're signing. Be careful about the lease that you're signing. Make sure that you understand. Most of our off-campus housing apartments usually have a 12-month lease. Some will offer a 6-month lease. Ask some questions. It is a legal document when you sign a contract.
The biggest advice I can give you is be open. You will be meeting new people. You will have roommates, people that you've never met before. Take out the time to get to know someone new.
Brianna Jones, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Well, it's time for our last break, but when we return, we'll learn about a program that offers free textbooks for Troy students. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I think it goes around.
Let's go. We got to get you in practice.
And it's set.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
You were supposed to make a right, but you made a left. And it's okay, you found your way. On a personal note, as I was counseling the two of you.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
There's an opportunity for Troy University students to have access to free textbooks for their classes. We'll learn more about the program in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guests today are Deb Fortune and Josh Hill, here to talk a little about an opportunity for students to save a little bit of money here at Troy University. Thanks for joining me here today. And we're talking about open educational resources. So Deb, tell us a little about what this is all about.
Sure. Open Educational Resources is an initiative that we started about a year ago here at Troy, and we are expanding to actually reduce the cost of textbooks for the students, put money in their back pocket, so to speak. That's one of the things that we want to do. Of course, all of this is driven by quality, and we will not sacrifice anything for the quality of the product itself, but what we want to do is help reduce the burden of going to a higher education institution like Troy University to reduce the cost of that textbook either by a low cost or a no cost initiative.
And I guess talk about how all this got initiated. What was the drive to kind of push this and get it in motion here?
Last fall at our staff and faculty convocation, Chancellor Hawkins made a plea to our faculty, also with the administration, is that he would like to see a reduction in the cost of textbooks for our students. They're enormously expensive. I think you can see that by actually going to any bookstore to see how expensive some of your textbooks are. And so in order to reduce the cost of an education, what we want to do is seek some type of initiative to make sure that those books, number one, are of high quality, and number two, that a student can afford to have that book on the first day of class. So many of our students don't even have their textbooks on the first day of class, whether they're an on-campus student or whether they're taking their class online. And it's so important that from the very beginning, a student has the material to work with so that they can begin to understand the material in the class. 9 weeks for an online course is very short, but even at 16 weeks, you need your textbook during that first week of class.
Well, let's talk about the execution of this. How does a student take advantage of this?
All right, what students can, every one of the courses are marked. We've got a 5-character designation for all the courses. Any course that has those 5 characters, the last character is an O. So if you see a course that says XTIAO, that O stands for Open Educational Resources. So students can look in the course schedule and they can see that, that course, and there should also be a message that says that this course offers a low-cost, no-cost textbook. So students should be able to see that as they're, as they're searching for courses for the upcoming term.
So one might think that this might actually drive students to particular courses. If they have a choice, they might drop into one that has the OER available to it.
And that's been our mission. What we've been trying to do is to get all of the courses for, say, if we're doing Music 1131, it's been one of the biggest ones, trying to get every single section, whether it's offered face-to-face or whether it's offered online, so that the students know that, if they take a certain course or a certain group of courses, that they'll all contain open educational resources.
And now, are these the textbooks, the resources are they online based? Are we talking digital books?
Totally online.
Yes.
Yeah. So everything is digital. Like Dr. Fortune was saying, the students can access the textbook from the first day, and they can access it forever. Unlike a commercial textbook, they can print the textbook from anywhere. So if they want to read it offline, there's always a PDF version available. So students always have a lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of
flexibility.
Absolutely.
And I know for people think online books, online courses, but for terrestrial courses, traditional courses, online books, you could utilize those anyway. So, with tablets and pads and stuff like that.
And that's what we found. Some of the faculty are saying that their teaching time has really increased with OER because the students have it. They have it on, like you said, on their laptop. They have it on their tablet, on their cell phone, and they can engage with that material more. And research says that students are actually doing better with OER and the test scores and their completion, because a lot of students, if you're taking a group of courses, you may only be able to take one course because you can't afford the textbook. We found a lot of students will just take one class at a time, and then they may not even complete their degree. So with OER, that path to completion is there.
Keeping that retention there. Now, if anybody, before we go here, anyone is interested beyond this interview of finding out more about this, how can they, maybe a website or something they can go to?
Yeah, you can Google OER at Troy, and you can go to the website. We've got every course on there that has currently been converted to OER, so students should see that at least a term in advance. We try and keep the website updated. There's also a lot of information on there for the students and for the faculty. For advocacy and for the students to be able to find the courses.
Well, here's hoping that students start taking advantage of this out there now that they know it's available, because it's hard to turn down free.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
It sure is.
Well, thank you both for joining me here today to tell me a little bit about, and our guests about, this free option for students out there to help things be a little bit more affordable. Thanks for joining me here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened this week. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.